Welcome to Psalm 126. The Lord returns the captivity. This would be the Ode of the Steps, the seventh step towards what I believe to be the holiday of Passover and unleavened bread. I'll read a little in Greek. Ento epistrepse Kyrion ten akmalosian seon aganithimen osi parakeklimeni. Tote aplisti haras to stomamu imon, ke I glossa imon alaliasas seos. Tote erosi en tis ethnosin megaline kyrios, tu pi se met avton. In the Lord returning the captivity of Zion, we became as ones comforted. Now, what captivity is it talking about here? There's been many captivities of it wasn't Zion, but earlier captivities was in Numbers 21:10, where there were people taken captive of the sons of Israel in the wilderness. But basically, the captivity came later because it's here as Zion, so that would have been the city of Jerusalem, the city of David. And it mentions that being taken, people being taken captive to Damascus in 2 Chronicles 28, 5-15. You can go there and read that if you so wish, and find out about that captivity. It was basically later with a young servant who was taken captive, became a maid to Naaman, the Syrian general's wife, and he had leprosy, and the girl told the wife about the prophet in Israel, and Naaman went to Israel. Then, during Hezekiah's time, in 2 Chronicles 29:9, people were taken captive before the fall of Jerusalem. Then we find out about the fall of Jerusalem and the people taken captive there in Jeremiah 1:3. Then in 2 Kings 24:14, it talks about the captivity going into Babylon. And Ezekiel was in the midst of the captivity. It mentions that in Ezekiel 1:1. Then Amos's prophecy, you can read the whole book of Amos, it's not very big. It talks about the captivity. And then Daniel, it mentions, was among the captivity, and him and the three other young men that were taken, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, in Daniel 1:3. And then the return of Ezra 3:8 and Nehemiah 1:2 are mentioned about the captivity that was taken. Then that captivity was returned by Cyrus the Great, and it talks about that in Isaiah 45:13. And then in Zephaniah 2:7 and Joel 3:1-8, it talks about a future captivity. But the New Testament it has some things. In Ephesians 4:8, it says, having ascended into the height, he, and that would be Jesus, captured captivity, and he gave gifts to men. Now, what captivity? Somebody was captivated. Captivated, is that the right word? By sin, possibly, that he came. And then in Revelations 13:10, it says, if anyone has captivity, into captivity he goes. And that is concerning the ones doing obeisance to the beast, and which I believe would be the man of sin who goes into the temple and proclaims himself as God. 2 Thessalonians in the 2nd chapter. Then the captivity we see in Deuteronomy 28:41 of a future portent of that about captivity when the people are cursed, and it says when the curses were given by Moses, and then they shouted them out on Mount Ebal and Gerizim. And it says, sons and daughters you shall bear, but they shall not be yours, for they shall go forth in captivity. So that's a future prophecy, and they won't be theirs. They'll be going into captivity as slaves when they went into Babylon. 2 Chronicles 6:37, it says, and they should turn their heart in the land of which they were taken captive, there, and shall turn and shall beseech you in the land of their captivity, saying, we sinned. And this is all about praying to Solomon's temple. The sons of Israel returned to Israel in 1948, and I think 67 they took Jerusalem. But I don't see them setting up the temple or anything like that, reinstituting the priesthood. They probably will, because it talks about a temple, and I mentioned in 2 Thessalonians, where the man of sin goes into, proclaims himself God, and then after that, the chosen will be gathered together, it says. That is in a future time. Now going back up to verse 2, it says, then our mouth was filled with joy and our tongue with exaltation. But the sons of Israel were gone into captivity for over 2,000 years throughout the world after the Romans took them into captivity and sent them out into the diaspora. And it says, then shall they say in the nations, the Lord magnified himself in dealing with them. Now, I'm not sure that them would be the nations or would be they. Them, I would guess it would be the they say, the Jews. The Lord was magnified in his dealing with them. The Lord magnified himself in dealing with us. So there we have the explanation. All I had to do is read another verse. And we became ones being glad. Being magnified, it says, then shall they say in the nations, the Lord magnified himself. In the New Testament, we have in Acts 19:17, where it says, and fear fell upon all of them, and the name of the Lord Jesus was magnified. Then in verse 4, it says, return, O Lord, our captivity as the rushing streams in the south. Now, what these rushing streams in the south are referring to, I can only guess. I'm guessing that they were arroyos, they call them, I think, in the Southwest, where they have these canyons and it could rain up in the mountains, and all of a sudden these flash floods come flying down the arroyos and wash away everything that's in them. A lot of people lose their lives. I'm sure there were a lot of arroyos in the southern part of Israel where people saw that happen, sort of like the Southwest of the United States. And continues, the one sowing in tears shall harvest in exaltation. And the ones going went and wept, throwing their seed. Now, I don't see the ones that went for 2,000 years in exile throwing their seed to other people. They became hated pretty much by most every country they went to. They went into nothing but problems with everybody, casting them out throughout the 2,000 years. It became famous, talking about the wandering Jew. But it says, but the ones coming shall come in exaltation, lifting their sheaves. So they throwing the sheaves. So the sheaves means that they actually accomplished something. Something grew from what they had. I don't see anything yet. Maybe, hopefully, Israel will show this type of exaltation of God. And there is a movie that was made probably in 1954. It's called Exodus. It's 3 hours long, and it's all about the Jews after the Nazi Holocaust, taking them and them going to Palestine via Cyprus and so forth. Interesting movie. Might like to see it. It's called The Exodus, The Exit. Psalm 127, the Lord guards. And step 8, we'll find out how the Lord guards us. Hope you join us. Till then, God bless.